Hey everyone, I'm Chris Manning. Welcome back to Silverhand Studios. A quick update from the studio, a few of the things that are going on here. Lots of things happening despite the fact that the world is in lockdown. Fortunately, I'm still able to come in and do some work, so I thought I'd give you a quick tour and show you a little bit of what I've been up to and what's been going on. All right, the first thing that's been happening is a new watchmaker's bench. This is something that I've been working on for a little while now, and fortunately it's not entirely done, but it's at least at a point where it is usable. This is currently sitting in our gallery space, which is not the ideal location for it. However, the place where it's going to eventually live is still under construction, and that's not going to change anytime in the near future, unfortunately. The gentlemen who are doing the work in our studio are not able to come in thanks to the coronavirus lockdown. So until they're able to come back and finish that work, I am going to be setting up here in the gallery. It does mean that I get a nice view of what's going on outside in the world, but at the same time, it's not quite ideal. So this is a walnut tabletop that I have made, and I have put it onto a standing desk. This is the Jarvis standing desk frame from Fully. I've used a couple of Fully desks over the years in different places, and I'm a big fan of the way they work. They have a nice little touchscreen control panel, so you can move it up and down easily. You can set different memory settings so that you can get back to the positions that you want to. Some of the seating positions for watchmaking are a little bit weird. The bench is typically quite high compared to what you're used to sitting at, so that you can get your arms up and keep the work that you're working on right in front of your face. But that's not ideal for all situations. So there are a lot of different solutions out there for how to get your bench at the correct height, and this is what I'm trying out. It's not quite as sturdy as many of the benches that I've had. You can see that it's too much weight on it will rock it a little bit, but at the same time, this is not the kind of bench that I'm doing that sort of work on. I certainly wouldn't recommend this if you were making a jeweler's bench. That requires a fair bit of force when you're working on the bench, both hammering as well as filing, sawing, that kind of thing. And the rocking motion that you get here from this bench would be problematic in a jeweler's bench. Oh, looks like our friends at FedEx have just arrived. Let's see what goodies they have for us today. That's actually been our biggest problem here at the studio, is getting things shipped to us. Unfortunately, a number of the shipping companies just have not been very consistent with getting us things in a timely manner. UPS in particular, Canada Post, they've been the biggest offenders so far. FedEx has actually been pretty good, same with DHL. So anyway, unfortunately, that's been our biggest holdup over the last 2 months. So anyway, this is where my workbench is going to live for now. It's a bit of a disaster. One of the things I need to work on next is some drawer units to go underneath the bench, so that I can actually store tools that I'm not actively using, projects that I'm not actively using. So that's probably going to be the next bit of woodworking that I do, is getting those drawer units built and up and running. This good-looking gentleman right here showed up in our studio the other day, thanks to Matt Anderson, good friend of Silverhand Studios and Low-End Design. So he's looking over my shoulder now as I'm working here in the studio. Got a couple of air conditioners that have just shown up, and hopefully those will be installed sometime soon. It's starting to get a little warm here in Ottawa. We tend to go from being chilly to warm very, very quickly here. We haven't had much of a spring so far this year. So we're hoping that these get installed pretty soon, because it is already getting toasty in here. I think it's about 25 degrees in here without any air conditioning on. All of our big doors are facing south, so we get a lot of sun directly on us. Lots of welding has been happening here in the studio. Fortunately, we've got some decent welding equipment and a few other toys that I'll show you in a second. And it's made my life a lot easier when it's come to making little workbenches for things. This was just a bench that I knocked together quickly, along with a second copy of this that I've got my grinders on. And being able to weld things quickly is a huge advantage, and certainly something that I recommend to anybody who's getting going in a shop, especially at the beginning. It's something that you don't necessarily think you want to get into. Maybe metalwork isn't something that you're really interested in, but it's amazing how quickly you can actually whip together the different fixtures that you need, the different tables that you need, and all with a MIG welder and some tube steel. So definitely recommend that. This Crossfire Pro plasma torch from Langmuir Systems has just shown up. Well, I guess it's been here for a few weeks now, but we've been really loving this machine. It is so fast to be able to go from design idea to drawing to actually cutting parts out on the plasma cutter very, very quickly. Usually within a few minutes we can take a part and be able to cut it out. And so this has been a huge benefit to us. Anytime we need something, we can quickly get it going. So we're going to start seeing a lot more of this in videos, just because it's incredibly powerful. One of the things that John and I have talked about a fair bit on my podcast Off Hours is the idea of force multipliers in the shop. Things that can help you improve your shop quickly or improve your workflow, really allow you to benefit from their addition to the shop and make you far more productive. And this has probably been the single biggest force multiplier for Rich and me here in the studio. So this is certainly something that it's not for everybody. It's not the kind of thing that everybody needs in their shop. But becoming good friends with somebody who has one is certainly worthwhile if you don't have the room for it in your shop. My straight line engine and Rose engine now have a new place to live here in the studio, and they are set up and ready to go. I do have a little bit of work that I need to do on each of them. The Rose engine more than the straight line engine. Still trying to get those videos up and out so that I can show you guys a little bit more about what's going on with them. But that hopefully that'll be, the straight line engine video will be done soon. So we'll continue working on that and see if we can get it out shortly. This is a bench top that I made for watchmaking a few years ago. And this is something that was in my office at home, and I did a bunch of my work on originally. This is also where my Derbyshire lathe was located. I'm doing a few modifications to the bench so that I can run the motor underneath the bench. Before it was located in the back, you can actually see the bolt holes from where it was where the motor was located back there. But I want to move the motor down below, give myself a little bit more desk room that's up there. So I just need to do some modifications to this, and then I'll be able to get it up and running in the gallery and have my watchmaker's lathe back up and running as well, which would be really nice. If you follow me on Instagram, you've been seeing a little bit about our new alarm system / doorbell. This thing is kind of ridiculous. It makes a hell of a lot of noise, but that's kind of the point. We were finding that we were missing people coming to the door, particularly delivery people. And so Rich decided to knock together a new doorbell system that takes advantage of a siren and also a flashing light. So this is something that's been great for us. Fortunately, we are able to turn it off so that it doesn't make quite as much noise. But this has been nice. It's meant that we haven't missed any of our deliveries. Considering how rarely they're coming in, we don't want to miss them. Thanks very much for watching. Hopefully the straight line engine video will be up shortly. Got everything shot. I just need to get through editing it and I think I'm most of the way there. So hopefully that will be up soon, and you'll be able to see that. If you want to make sure that you see any of the videos that come out, please subscribe. It'd be great to have you here regularly. All right, thanks very much.